Today the plan is that we fly from Munich to London Gatwick in an Airbus 320 Neo. As you can see, we're already on the gate, and actually we're already connected to VATSIM. Currently without ATC coverage. They just left a couple of minutes ago, sadly. But I think that when we arrive in England, we're gonna have pretty good ATC coverage. Usually they stay on for quite a long time. I don't think there's any event happening today, but more importantly, we have at least some proper coverage there when we arrive. So we have some important things, some interesting things going on. So let me quickly show you the plan for today. So as you can see, this is Navigraph fired up. This is the route. So we're gonna fly here from Munich, where we currently are at the gate. As you can see here, we're gonna take off from runway 26 right, 26 right. Take the give me 1 November departure, fly one of the standard routes that was suggested via Simbrief, leave continental Europe and arrive in England via the Terra to Gulf arrival, and then we expect vectors for the ILS 26 left. That is the plan, at least. Of course, if we don't have ATC coverage, then this we need to simulate that and pretend that we are getting vectors. But if we have coverage, then this should be quite easy. And then we gonna land in Gatwick and end the flight there. So let's first check the weather. I hope it loads, because since a couple of updates in Navigraph, for some reason it does not always load. But this looks, can't really tell. Maybe if we add cloud coverage, maybe we can check if they're okay. So we have that. Okay, looking good. Yeah, should be fine. I think the weather shouldn't be a problem today on the road. And we have our flight plan, of course, already. I have not filed it to VATSIM, and also they changed it, so you cannot file it anymore directly via vPilot. So you have to go to the web page, and you can do this from Simbrief. So you just hit the button, and then it takes you to the right page on VATSIM. I'm not going to show that because I don't want to disclose any private information there, but I think there are enough guidelines on YouTube that explain exactly how this is being done, so I don't think that this is something that we need to go talk through. This is a very VATSIM specific thing and not directly related to the whole aviation aspect of the flight. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So let's quickly check the charts. So here we have the RNAV chart. For the departure, we have a couple of constraints here: 220 knots, 250, but that is basically it. No other constraints. Pretty easy departure here. Nothing really special. Later on, we're gonna go through the arrival and plan our arrival and approach. So the more constraints, as we can see, and we are gonna, of course, then later on during the flight talk about that. This is the ILS approach. but yeah, we're gonna talk through that later. And yeah, I think that's it regarding the planning.
Mention traffic, Delta Zulu Charlie, turning final, runway 26 left for full stop landing.
So as you can hear, we are on UNICOM and we have a couple of broadcasts there. We're also going to do that later to keep everybody informed what we're going to do. And here I want to also show you this. This is a new flight planning tool. It's called AviaPlanner. It was released a couple of weeks ago. And it's basically, it's still in the alpha phase. I would say it's not feature complete yet. So they are planning to provide pretty good planning functionality there. And they're going to be using the LIDO charts. So as you know, Navigraph uses the Jeppesen charts, and the LIDO charts are another format that is provided by Lufthansa Systems and is also, let's say, the second industry standard and used by multiple airlines. But it's basically a personal. It's basically a personal preference, right? What you like more.
Lufthansa 85 Mike, Delta Zulu Charlie speaking. We are right in front of you, speed reducing to 170.
All right. Okay. So we haven't got around there. Also interesting. Anyway, so as you can see, those are the LIDO charts, and it comes to personal preference, of course, right? What you prefer. For some things, I like the LIDO charts more. For other things, I like the Jeppesens more. So I am a little bit torn. But also currently they don't have everything in place in AviaPlanner. So for example, you don't have the accompanying, when you look at the SID here, the departure, right? So here's the give me. When you look at that, normally, have fun with that. So so when you normally with the LIDO charts, you have accompanying text pages to the SIDs, meaning they explain you in more detail actually what is happening on the specific SID route, right? So when you look at the Navigraph, for example.
Radio check.
555.
Okay.
So here you have the Jeppesen chart. So those things here that are explained more in detail up here, or also the routing down here, this is what LIDO provides as a separate page, right? Which is, well, the page itself, I cannot show it because they don't provide it yet, but the page itself is there's a better overview and it's more structured and it's easier to pick the right information for the eye. It's easier than compared to what you see here on Jeppesen. On the other hand, you have a second page, right? So you don't have everything on one page. So as I said, it comes down to personal preference. Yeah, it's I just wanted to show you that there are currently there is currently this new tool being developed, and they have a partnership with Lufthansa System. So let's see how this. So let's see how this works out for them. And there is a free trial period for a couple of days, so you can easily try it. As I said, the planning functionality is very, very limited. You can generate a route, but the route actually you cannot change, right? What you can change is the runways. You can change the SIDs. You can change the stars, the approaches, that you can do, but the route in between you cannot really change. That is, of course, nothing really that you would like to, this you cannot use it really, but when it comes to charts, that is what is mostly interesting, right? Those things that you can change. The route itself, not really, except you have specific, let's say, I don't know, holding points that would not be shown in any other chart. So in any star, approach, sit chart or whatever, you would only be able to see it in your routing charts. Yes, of course, then it might be needed, but normally this is not the case, or very seldom the case, very rarely. So yeah, this is this new tool, and I just wanted to quickly show that that you are aware that this is maybe something that you're interested in and you want to have a look at.
We're going to be runway 26 by Alpha 14, Munich traffic.
Unreadable.
So I'm going to quickly find my flight plan so we can then start our preparations. Just give me a second. I might have to adapt the off-block time, which is now, let's say 13:30 Zulu. That should be fine. Altitude is correct. So I'm gonna find the flight plan. Flight plan is filed. Very good. So we have that. Nice. All right. Good. So what we're gonna do here, actually already connected to the external power, and I already aligned the ADRs. Oh yeah, and as you can see on the MCDU, I already initiated the flight plan and loaded it from Simbrief. So we have flight level 340. We have a cost index of 100. I always use 100 because we don't have to care for fuel prices or anything. So why should we limit us there? Then when we look at the fuel prediction page, so we need to enter the missing fuel and weight information. In this case, a couple of things are already pre-filled by Simbrief, as you can see, but we don't have the center of gravity yet. So the center of gravity, I will look into my ProSim iOS, and it tells me it's a 25.3. So I use this what ProSim tells me, right? Not what any external tool tells me, because ProSim is the plane, right? And any other tools might give you different values that don't really then reflect the reality of what ProSim calculates during the flight. So we have that. That is now ready. Then we're gonna look at the flight plan real quick. We're gonna switch here to plan mode so we can also see how it looks like. And for the flight, we select our departure. It's 26. Actually, it's 26, right? Why then this is wrong here? No. Select runway. So it's better. 26, right? Then we have the give me 1 November departure. There it is. Looking good. Then we look at the arrival, and I already checked the ATIS for Gatwick. and it said they are currently using 26 left.
München
There's
traffic,
26 left.
Lufthansa 02 Alpha, flight level 131 descending, passing Betos following the Betos 26 transition for the ILS 26 left, München traffic.
We are going to pick the Tibra 2G. It's also one of the standard arrivals that Simbrief tells you to fly. And we'll select no via because we're going to expect vectors anyway. So we have that. And then let's quickly check what the route looks like. Looking good, looking good.
Traffic Lufthansa 85 Mike, onshore final ILS 26 left.
That looks right. There is the star, and there is the discontinuity because of vectors. Looking good. And then we have our go around, and we have our alternate. Right, that's good. So we can back. Now what we can also do now is we're gonna request the wind information. Okay, wind information is there. That's good. So you have already the wind information pre-filled, for example, also on the performance pages. That is quite nice. Of course, then later in the flight, when we prepare for the arrival, we need to check if they are still up to date, or we need to change them, of course. So, having done that, we can now look at our performance. So for that, we use the new functionality we have now in Simbrief available, which calculates us proper performance data for our Airbus 320neo. So we can populate the information from the last flight. We can check if we want to, we need to adapt a couple of things. For example, the bleed settings. Make sure that the weather information is correct, and then tell them if you are using Flex or Toga. In this case, we are using Flex. Very long runway, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Landing runway 26 left.
The weight, of course, we need to really check what we have in ProSim. So in ProSim, we have a little bit more. So we need to really make sure that we have those missing kilograms. And then we're going to calculate the performance. So we have the values that Simbrief tells us. So we have V1, 147, we have rotation speed at 147, and we have V2, 148. So pretty usual stuff. Then we have our flap setting, which is standard 1, and our flex temperature would be 67. All right. Good, so we have that. Then, since we don't have any ATC on, we're gonna also enter our cruising altitude already. Having done that, we are gonna check our constraints. So we have Delta Mike 060, 220 knots, that's correct. Delta Mike 063, we have 250 knots. That's also correct. The routing is looking good. 6063, and then we have give me, and then we are on our way. So pretty easy, not much to do here, but so that is right. Good, then let's check them. checklist, before start checklist. Cockpit preparation we have completed. Earpins and covers, of course. Signs on in auto. Ages are aligned. Fuel quantity is checked. Takeoff data is checked. Barrow is 1022. Let's cross check again. Maybe it changed. No, it's still right. Windows doors are closed. The beacon is on. Bus levers are on idle. Parking brake is set. Before start checklist complete. All right. So before we start up our stuff, let's do the fire tests. APU first. Engine 1. Successful. Engine 2. Successful. Nice. So let's start up the APU. APU master switch. APU start.
München traffic,
APU bleed is
Lufthansa
on.
02 Alpha at 5000, turning direct Nelby, thereafter straight in ILS 26 left, München traffic.
München traffic, 2 Jet 4 Echo Kilo, turning towards Gudek, descend 5500, descending 5000 aft, then for ILS runway 26 right, München traffic.
All right, so APU generator is also on. We can also turn on our fuel pumps already. You know what? Whenever I don't stream, nobody talks on UNICOM. Nobody. But when I stream, they tell you the life stories. It's crazy. All right, good. So we set already our squawk to 1000. That's also fine. So APU is starting up. And once we have done that, then we might already be able to push back. Just checking vPilot. There's an open mic, but I think it's not me because I'm not transmitting. Shouldn't be me. All right. Good. APU is available. APU bleed is on. Let's turn off the external power.
München traffic, Lufthansa 02 Alpha on final course, ILS 26 left, 10 miles, München traffic.
All right, I think we are good to go. Then we'll inform the guys that we're going to push back, and then we're going to start up the engines. München traffic, Lufthansa 75 pushing back gate 203. München traffic. All right, so let's start up the engines. Engine mode start. Starting engine 2. Parking brake is off. Taxi lights on. Runway turnoff lights on. Looking good.
München traffic, Lufthansa 0 to Alpha, short final, 26 left, München traffic.
München traffic, Lufthansa 85 Mike, established ILS 23 left. Correction, Munich traffic, Lufthansa 85 Mike, fully established ILS 26 left.
Yellow traffic, any traffic inbound runway 26 right?
München traffic, Lufthansa 85 Mike, on final runway 26 left.
Alright, starting up engine number 1.
Yellow traffic, Lufthansa 56 Bravo Romeo, via Alpha 12, lining up runway 26 right and taking off. Input to November departure.
Hi Danielle, welcome to the stream.
München traffic, Lufthansa 0 to Alpha, 26 left vacated, München traffic.
München traffic, Lufthansa 85 Mike, landing runway 26 left.
Good, so when the engines are started up, we're going to go through the after start checklist. And then announce our taxi to holding point 26 right to make sure that people know where we are going. There is already somebody taking off from 26 right. Looking good. All right. Engine mode back to normal. APU bleed turned off. Ground spoilers aren't. Flaps 1. Time for flight control check. So the trim is set to 1 degree according to our configuration. Good. After start, anti-ice is required, not needed.
0 to Alpha, taxiing to entry Sierra 7 via Sierra.
ECOM status is checked. Pitch trim is set. Weather trim is 0. Alright. Then we have the after start checklist complete. München traffic, Lufthansa 75, taxiing to holding point 26 right. All right, and let's go. Then we can already prepare for the takeoff, so we turn off our APU. Landing lights, not yet. Auto brake set to max. So since there's nobody else, let's already repair everything. So TCAS on, radar is on, takeoff config test is normal, landing lights on, drop set to auto, nose takeoff. Cruise advised, packs off according to our calculations or performance calculations.
7 Tango Hotel, pushing back gate 246, facing north, center 2. München traffic.
Alright, then let's go through the before takeoff checklist. Flight controls are checked, flight instruments are checked. We have our briefing done regarding our departure. Flap settings, yes, flaps are set. V speeds set. ATC is notified. ICA memo takeoff no blue. Then down the line, cabin crew is advised. TCAS is already set. Engine mode selector to normal. Packs as required. In our case, they are off. Before takeoff, checklist complete. Alright, so let's roll to the runway and then inform UNICOM that we are about to take off. So let's quickly check the VATSIM radar. If we see anybody inbound for 26 right, no, there's nothing. So we should be fine. We're gonna take holding point Alpha 14, get our full length takeoff. Munich traffic, Lufthansa 75, line up and take off to 6 right, Munich traffic.
traffic, KLM 515, 12 miles to runway 26 left.
Swiss 111 is starting up and pushback.
Munich traffic, Lufthansa 9 Papa Mike, ILS runway 26 left.
All right, doing good. And flex SRS runway autofrost blue.
München traffic, Lufthansa 7 Tango.
100 knots.
To holding point Alpha 12, runway 26 right, via Center 2 Delta 1 November 4 November Alpha 12. Lufthansa 7 Tango.
V1 rotate.
München traffic, Munich, KLM 515 on final runway 26 left.
Nav positive climb, gear up. Thrust climb, climb, autothrust. Pack 1 and 2 are on.
München traffic, KLM 515, 7 miles to runway 26 left.
Transition altitude, autopilot 1. Altimeter set to standard. Flap 0, speed checked, and after takeoff check this landing gear up, flaps retracted, packs are on, bow ref is set to standard, after takeoff checklist complete.
München traffic, KLM 515, go around runway 26 left and climb 4,000 feet.
What's up with the go-arounds today? Everybody's going around. In Munich, it's really an easy approach and everything. Huge runways. 10,000 feet, so Let's turn off the lights, turn off the seat belts.
Swiss 111, taxi via Sierra 6, Sierra to holding point Bravo 14 at runway 26 left at Munich.
Okay, it looks like the Munich tower came back online, but they didn't ping me to contact them, so I hope it was fine for them that I just took off. Otherwise, they probably would have pinged me. I think they're not expecting to jump, everybody to jump on the frequency while they're already in progress taxiing, or maybe even already taking off immediately. That wouldn't make sense. But currently, I don't think we have any coverage. Let me just quickly check. As I said, normally they ping you anyway, but no, there is no coverage currently. Oh, and also the coverage in England decreased a little bit. We still have Gatwick approach, looks like. And Gatwick itself is staffed with ground and tower, so that will be fine. But until then, currently at least, we don't have any coverage. But let's see. We have quite a way to go, so maybe some radar center comes up, and then we can connect to them and have some communication with ATC going on. So yeah, I had a stupid blue screen a couple of days ago while flying. So I checked the drivers again and everything. Everything should be fine. Updated the BIOS, updated chipset driver, everything. So I don't see any reason. I also have a hardware monitor going on that gives some alerts if the temperature would be too high. Currently, I don't see any problem there either. So let's just hope that it's gonna work. I also have checked the flight simulator settings and everything. So let's hope this won't happen today. So what I'd like to do during flight, displaying the progress and report page, because there you have good information regarding your next waypoints and the current wind situation, fuel, and projected arrival or crossing time, altitude, and also the calculated top of descent from flight level, from cruising altitude, flight level 340 in our case, when it's going to happen and how far we are away from that. So that's always, for my opinion, the standard page that I like the most when not checking anything else. And also it gives you then a really good estimation of how the values change according to any kind of deviations, be it speed, altitude, or maybe even direction. For example, when you get your directs from ATC or something like that. So yeah. One of the disadvantages, of course, when you fly on UNICOM is that you are actually supposed to fly your route, right? So you submitted your route, and there's no real any way to receive any directs or shortcuts, right? So I normally then really follow this route. I'm not gonna play around and simulate any directs I would have gotten maybe from ATC. I don't know if anybody does that, but I normally don't do it. If I fly, when I fly offline, then of course I take very short routes, or let's say very direct routes from departure to arrival sometimes, because it just, shortens the time where you're basically just doing not much while in cruising altitude. And normally also what I used to do is that I have here my little knee board with a blank sheet of paper for writing down my clearance. In this case wasn't necessary because ATC left shortly before we left the gate, but I have it ready here, so especially then when we near our approach, I'm able to write down any ATC communication regarding our star, our transition, expected ILS, or expected approach and runway, but also if you get like multiple things at once, like a vector, an altitude, and your speed, so you can quickly write it down just to make sure that you don't screw anything up. And I find it's even better to maybe take 1 or 2 more seconds before you reply, write it down calmly, and then once you have all the values, all the figures, then read them back and read them back correctly, and not try to to memorize everything and then read back stuff that doesn't make any sense, or forget things and then I have to repeat. Yeah, I tried this. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Depends on your on your day. If you're tired, if you're focused, how much is going on the frequency, and rather spend 1 or 2 more seconds before you reply than spend 10 more or 15 more seconds with an additional instruction and additional readbacks, right? So this is at least my experience. So I always try to do that, unless it's a very easy approach, not a lot of traffic and things like that, and I expect that I don't get any complicated instructions. Then maybe it's not really necessary. But especially when you have something like events going on and there's like really a huge queue waiting for their vectors and their intercepts, then of course be prepared for getting more complex instructions and write them down. Nobody gonna see that if you do that, and nobody thinks you're an idiot because you can't remember things. Not at all. And so that's just my personal experience. Also, what is also sometimes easy to do is when you get, for example, the next frequency, right? You get the next frequency and then you are not fast enough to grab your pen, grab your paper, write it down. What you can very easily do, just type it into the MCDU, right? So you get the frequency 123.75, right? So you just write that. You just type it as they speak, right? And then you have it here in the what is it called? Scratch pad line or something. So you have 123 and then read it back over to 123.75, right? And then you change your frequency and switch. Or you enter your standby frequency and then you switch, right? Later on you can delete it so it doesn't disturb you, and then you can easily do this the next time also. Or maybe even if you get something like a heading or something, and the heading might be a little bit odd or whatever, right? You can even do that maybe, right? Especially when you expect even more things coming up. Or when you get a speed and you remember the speed, but suddenly you also get a heading, right? And then you're like, okay, wait a second. And then you type in maybe the heading. You remember the speed was 220 something, right? And then you read it, okay, speed 220, heading turn left 340, right? Something like that. So there are a couple of hacks how you can make your life easier on VATSIM. At least that's what I experienced. And as I said, rather take 1 or 2 seconds longer for your readback than messing it up and then take 10 seconds, 15 seconds for additional instruction and another readback, which also happens sometimes still, right? It can happen. But the goal is, at least for me, is to perform as well as possible, right? And this is also satisfying because once you completed your VATSIM flight, you disconnect from the network, and you think you did a good job. You didn't mess anything up. You didn't cause any delays or caused multiple readbacks or confusion or anything, that feels good, That's something where and maybe also, during a big event, a lot of things going on, that's just a great feeling, right? And yeah, a little bit exhausting, of course, but that's it's still quite satisfying. And then you have bad days where you just where nothing really works. Maybe you have problems with the simulator, right? Maybe you have problems with the flight plan, submitting to VATSIM. Maybe you have problems with the connection, with the pilots, whatever. Or maybe you have then really, you're just not focused enough. You're tired, and then you just mess things up. I mean, yeah, it can happen. Everybody can mess things up. Even if you watch the big streamers here, those professional pilots that sometimes also fly on VATSIM and stream, even they sometimes forget things, mess things up, right? That's just natural, so it's not a big deal. But if you keep messing things up all the time, yeah, that's also not satisfying for nobody. Good, so I'll start. Mark out cruise, so we reached our cruising altitude. I'm gonna speed up a little bit. Let's check VATSIM radar real quick. Looking good. About to cross Frankfurt. but no coverage in sight currently until we leave the continent, but that was expected. But what we can do is we can check Gatwick 80s already. Maybe I changed something. Let's check here. 26 left still. Transition 1170. Let's approach. Oh, nothing special. So looks like we are still correct with our flight plan. So when I look at the temperatures, CPU, GPU looking pretty good. So temperatures should not be a problem, I guess. Let's really hope that blue screen was just a one-time occurrence. Well, it cannot be a cloud strike, right? I don't have cloud strike installed here. So must be something else. Oh yeah, I forgot to enter the expected arrival time. Let's see. Do we have here 15:01? All right. So there was actually, or is currently going on an event in Hungary. But what was weird is that actually it was supposed to also happen for, what is that airport called? Debrecen. I don't know if I butchered that name, but it's Debrecen International. But then they went offline, and the only airport then was and still is online is Budapest, which I already flew last time, so I thought that's gonna be a little bit boring, so I didn't do that today. So no event for me today, but maybe an interesting approach when we come to Gatwick.
594, lining up and departing on runway 25 center.
So regarding the tools I use for my iPad, so Navigraph is making really good progress when it comes to their application, right? So they are providing more and more and better information for flight tracking, etc. The weather, telemetry, and everything was added recently, right? So this is really good, and it matches more and more what you get from apps like, for example, ForeFlight, which is also used in real aviation, and which I also have a subscription for, which is of course not cheap. But the thing is with ForeFlight is the updates. So the movement of when you track your flight is very smooth. So they're interpolating the movement very well, right? And for that you have to have a little application running in the background on the main PC where your flight simulator is running, which is called mapsy. It's a freeware program that broadcasts the information so ForeFlight can pick it up, because compared to X-Plane, for example, or also Prepared 3D, ForeFlight doesn't pick that stuff up that MSF broadcasts. At least I think they didn't in the past. I don't know, maybe they changed it currently, but I never really tried it. So I start up the Mapsy application and then I fire up ForeFlight. And it's a very smooth experience, right? So when you look at the plane on the map, it moves very smoothly and very naturally. And of course, also the updates are very accurate, right? So especially when you taxi, the nose of the airplane really matches almost exactly where you really are in the simulator. The thing is, with Navigraph, this is not really the case, right? I can maybe show this real quick here on the application. So when you go to an airport, when you go to an airport and you look at taxiways here, if my cursor is the tip of the airplane, right, then you are here when in the simulator your plane is already there, right? So it's like, I don't know, 20 meters behind or something. I don't exactly know how much this is, but it's quite a lot, especially when you, for example, come from a bigger taxiway and you need to then intercept one of the entries here. Then when you look at Navigraph, right, you think you're actually still here, but no, in the simulator you're already here at Alpha 9, right? So this is the update is for whatever reason very slow for Navigraph, and also it's very so it's not smooth, right? So it keeps jumping like that, right? So something like that, and this is very annoying, and I don't know whether they're not able to improve that. I really don't know. So I think they really need to work on their netcode, because if it can be done with ForeFlight, and ForeFlight is not really doing anything to be better connected to MSFS or any simulator, right? As far as I know, because this is an application that is actually used for real aviation. I don't know why Navigraph cannot do that, right? Yes, you need an interface running in the background, or a gateway application running in the background for MSFS and ForeFlight. mapsy, I use mapsy, but it works, right? And Navigraph with Symlink, it doesn't work for some reason. So of course I have here Navigraph Symlink installed, right? But it's still very chunky and very slow with the updates. And also it does not display ATC traffic, ATC coverage and VATSIM traffic or network traffic yet. I think they are working on that. I think at least ATC coverage will be included in the next version, which would be really nice, because then you would not need any more something like, VATSIM radar or whatever, or other applications. So that would be really nice, especially also when you see the the gates occupancy, right? When you really see, okay, which gates are free. There might be green, which are occupied. There might be red, something like that. That would be really, really great. So you don't need any additional applications for that anymore. I'm really looking forward to that. And yes, those things are still missing, right? So, and this is why currently I have not yet decided to really switch, or let's say get completely rid of ForeFlight, because I still like the experience, the user experience with ForeFlight when it comes really to the motion tracking part, and when I really want to know where I am exactly on the ground, for example, right? Especially on a more complicated airport, it's really good. And with Navigraph, you always have to guess a little, and always have to add a couple of meters. Yeah, I hope they fix that or improve it, and then all you would need is Navigraph, nothing else anymore, except for the charts, of course, right? So we can talk a little bit about the charts again. So when you look at AviaPlanner here, and we look, for example, here the LIDO chart for our star, the Tebra 2 Golf star, what we're gonna fly today, for example. This is the LIDO format, and for the arrivals and for the approaches, you have everything on this one page, right? Everything you need is here, and you don't need any additional pages for that, and it's also displaying only the most important stuff you really need, and this is what I like on the in that format. You also, for example, when your star changes, right? When ATC gives you another star, it's most likely still on the same chart, right? You don't have to open up another chart, because it's normally the broad direction, and in this case we have 3 stars here, and it's going to be most likely one of those 3 if there is any change, right? They're not going to give you suddenly probably a star that comes from southwest or something, right? So that is also good. I like the format because you have everything else included, minima, etc., and you have general information displayed here in those boxes, right? So you read through those boxes. You have your transition level, and altitude. That's also good. You have your holding patterns here, all the information you need. Also with the flight levels and speed information for the holding patterns, so you don't need anything in addition to that also. But what I really like most when it comes to the LIDO charts is actually, well, not that, because this is just initial approach for London Gatwick. But when we look at the actual approach charts for our ILS 26 left. So I mean, for Gatwick it's quite easy, but still, you have at the top always your map with specific instructions, right? You have your frequency, you have your headings, and you have your, in blue you have your go around, right? You also have your transition level again and your altitude. This is also good. Then you have your performance thing, and then you have a very good depiction of the runway. And this is what I like more compared to Jeppesen, because it's very well color coded and also contains a little bit more information from my perspective. So this is really great. And also the minima information down here is also a little bit easier to read from my perspective. The only thing is LIDO charts, they only have category C and D, because those charts are normally made for commercial airlines, right? So if you don't fly an airliner, if you fly a Cessna, a little Cessna, whatever, VFR, whatever, you won't have that information in there that you actually need. So that is something you need to keep in mind, that this is tailored for towards commercial airlines, and this means then normally for airliners, category C and D aircrafts, right? Besides that, I really like this format. It's very easy to read. It's very well color coded, and it's a little bit funny because during a flight normally I switch between Jeppesen and LIDO charts, right? Depending on where I currently are, which phase of the flight I am. So yeah. And also what I really like, you always have this kind of, and I never saw this with Jeppesen, you have this airspace chart for an airport. And this gives you a very good summary of all the runways, the SIDs in green, the stars and transitions in well, what is it, amber, right? Radar minimums, and also the headings, specific headings of the real headings of the runways, right? Holding point information, right? So you have a very good overview of how to actually get away from the airport or approach this airport. So this is a very good overview I really like, and I don't see this. I have never seen something like that in a Jeppesen chart. Maybe because I don't know, I just couldn't find it, or they really don't have it. I don't really know. But this is a really good system. And also when you enter, for example, your intercept lines into the MCDU, you need the real you need the real headings, and this is also very good. You just open that chart, you have the information there. You also have the glide slope information already, so it's really great. So this is what I really like in the LIDO charts. Yeah, good. So let's check where we are. Let's check the ATC coverage again. But I haven't seen or heard anything. No, it doesn't look like we're gonna get much coverage before we start our descent to Gatwick. Also, what might be interesting is with the ProSim Airbus 320 software, you also have, when you connect it to ActiveSky for Prepared 3D or Microsoft Flight Simulator, you really have real-time weather information in there. So currently, of course, not, because the skies are clear, but I can at least show you when I increase the gain a little bit. Yeah, not even if I increase the gain, there's nothing. Right? Well, this is just, okay, this is just too much. So, yeah. So currently I cannot really show you because the weather is just too good, but so when you open, when you let ActiveSky run in the background, it feeds the ProSim software, and you really have the working weather radar. And actually, it doesn't matter. You can even use the old ActiveSky for example, Prepared 3D, and you don't even have to run Prepared 3D for that, of course, right? But ProSim can still connect to that, because ProSim is agnostic of the simulator. It doesn't care if you're running P3D, if you're running a Microsoft Flight Simulator or whatever, right? It just connects directly to the weather engine. And so I used to do that, but then there was a kind of performance problem. This means that for whatever reason, the queries between Microsoft Flight Simulator and ActiveSky, they just flooded the network communication, and they caused actual stuttering in the simulator, and that of course was not good. So I discontinued connecting to the old ActiveSky for Prepared 3D from ProSim using Microsoft Flight Simulator. But now they released the actual ActiveSky for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I installed that one, and I'm now using that, and it doesn't seem to have that old problem, right? So the performance is good. And also what you can do is if you use ActiveSky, but you want to use the out-of-the-box weather engine, or at least weather depiction of Microsoft Flight Simulator, you can let ActiveSky run in a passive mode. That means it still gives you wind information, turbulence information, wind shear information. It feeds that directly to ProSim, but it will not change the weather depiction in the simulator. So what I see currently, if there were any clouds or whatever, that would be from Microsoft Flight Simulator, not from ActiveSky. But if you have ActiveSky in the active mode, it would then override also the weather depiction in the simulator itself, but I don't see this necessary, so I run it in a passive mode. And currently, of course, there is not really much to show because the weather is good. Yes, guys. So we're still a little bit away, but 151 miles. But what we can do, we can also already check our performance. And also currently, not currently, but since a couple of weeks, we can also use Simbrief to calculate our landing performance. This is also really, really nice. It's not that useful to be honest, because the default landing calculation from ProSim itself, from the aircraft, is normally already enough and very accurate. So, but it's always good to cross-check and make sure that it doesn't really, you don't get into any trouble later. So when we look at that, we have Gatwick 26 left. We expect ILS 26 left. This is of course a weight prediction that currently you know, we need to trust. And then we have our weather populated, and then we can calculate it. And what do we have? We have a approach speed of 136 instead of 137, so it's basically nothing. With a lot of space left on the runway. What we already can do, we can enter the weather information. So we have 1020 QNH. We have a temperature of 23 degrees Celsius. The wind has changed a little bit, so we're gonna put 220 degrees and 9 knots in there. And then we're gonna look at our charts for the minimum. And this would be 400 barrel. Good. So we already entered our approach information. So we can see already a lot of coverage in vPilot, but nothing that we can really make use. Most of that stuff is airports. No center, no radar. That's sad, but there are worse things. For example, having a blue screen and a simulator crashing. If that happened now, that would be okay. If it happens during approach, then it would really suck. So let's see, what do you have here? What is that? For some reason I cannot select information for the Gatwick approach, but I can check again the H's for Gatwick. Still 26 left. Transition level 17. Let's see if we really have that in there. Oh, we have 60. That's good. So let's enter transition level 70. So we already have that. Very nice. Okay, nothing special happening there. Let's see the busy. Oh, the airport is quite busy today. There's a lot of things going on. Yeah, should be fine. Not a big event or something. Only 2 are arriving. Most of them are departing. Heathrow looks a little bit more busier with 8 arriving. 34 departing. Yeah. Okay, so fuel prediction 3.6. Looking good. Shouldn't be a problem there.
Hello? ClearJet 12. ClearJet 129 Brussels traffic, inbound Brussels 011, climbing to flight level 060 en route to Frankfurt International Airport.
There's a lot of stuff going on also in Scandinavia. Yeah, might have been also a good choice maybe to fly from Scandinavia, maybe downwards to one of the areas or airports that have coverage. But as I said, was just bad luck that right after we connected, the ATC for Munich went offline, so what can you do?
What's the traffic ClearJet 129 climbing to flight level 230.
Rotterdam traffic, Transavia 33 Juliet, passing flight level 145.
210. ClearJet 129.
Rotterdam traffic.
For Gatwick, we have two directors online. It's not quite clear which one you should connect to first.
Rotterdam traffic, Transavia 33 Juliet, passing flight level 12 for flight level 70 over Rimbo for ILS approach runway 24. Rotterdam traffic.
Okay, London Control came online up to flight level 195. That is great. That is actually really, really nice. So we have frequency 134, 125. We can already prepare. 134, 135. Let's check again. 134, 125. Yeah. Up to flight level 195. So I think during our descent we should be already there once we enter their airspace. So that is really great. 44 miles, 43 miles away from the top of descent. Looking nice. So this is always good when you have already coverage while you are descending and not only on the final seconds of your flight having to switch to approach director or tower. This is always a little bit stressful because then you might have to, immediately switch to another approach, to another arrival or whatever, right? This can happen. But if you're already guided while you are descending, and still way above 10,000, then it's normally really easy. And it looks like this is gonna happen, so good for us. Yeah, I think it's gonna work out pretty well because we have the constraint at Uptom, flight level 140, and this is almost exactly where we gonna get the coverage. Now we already see that we have here Brussels control coming online. They didn't contact me, so it could be that they are covering no, okay, they're not saying what flight levels they're covering, but they didn't contact me, so I'm not gonna connect to them because normally when they see, okay, this guy is gonna leave my airspace in a couple of minutes anyway, it doesn't really matter, right? Because then I will have to talk to him 2 minutes later, say goodbye, switch back to UNICOM, from UNICOM then back to London control. That's just doesn't really make sense. And also I think there are other flights in the Brussels airspace that require coverage more urgently than I do. So I don't expect them to contact me, and I'm not gonna connect to them. Doesn't make any sense. I don't know what everybody's opinion is. So I see always discussions in online about should you directly contact somebody when you think you enter their airspace? Should you wait to be for being contacted? Normally, what I see most controllers when they enter this discussion, they say they're gonna actively contact people. That's normally how it also happens, according to my experience. But sometimes if I feel that I might be overlooked or something, or somebody is, then I, just contact the controller by myself. When I feel, okay, I have been in his airspace for already too long, actually. And sometimes they then tell me, I'm not covering that flight level, whatever, back to UNICOM, or they just take me then, and maybe they really forgot about me. Could also be, right? So, yeah. All right, so we're almost on our top of descent. Let's check VPilot. Looking good. Nobody contacted us. Nothing special going on there. So normally what I do when I'm not in ATC coverage, but I'm flying online, I'm preparing to first descend to flight level 100. But I guess that's way before we hit that, we're gonna get the coverage. So we have a distance of almost 5 miles. So normally before 5 miles until top of descent, I normally then initiate the descent. Descending now, descent. But actually, what we didn't really do, we didn't really do the briefing. So let's quickly check the arrival. So we have temporary, we have up to flight level 140. That should be fine. Up to 140, that is correct. Then we have Arnhem, and we have Lark with 250 knots. That is also correct, but we're gonna cross flight level 100 earlier anyway. And then we have Timber flight level 70 and 220 knots. That is also right. Okay, we need more drag. Actually, the descent performance of the Airbus 320neo of ProSim is sometimes a little bit weird. It calculates it, but even if I descend earlier than the calculated descent, top of descent, still asking for more drag, even though I don't have I fly into the wind, right? So I don't have tailwind or something, but still, it's sometimes a little bit weird. Yeah, but that looks good. Expecting runway 26 left. It's also good. Yeah. So approach checklist. Briefing is confirmed. ECOM status is checked. Speed brake is out. Seatbelts are not yet on. We do this on 10,000. Power ref is not set yet. Yeah, so that's a little bit too early anyway. Let's wait. Let's wait for that. I know that the speed brake is still out, but you're asking me for more drag, so what do you want? Okay, so let's check where we are. Okay, so let's quickly check the final approach. So what I'd like to do is into the fix info, I'm gonna enter the approach. And then I'm gonna select a 2 miles radius and the radial to have the intercept ready, which is -77 degrees. Looking good. So expecting the controller to contact me any minute now, because I'm already in his almost in his airspace, but already also in his flight level coverage, in his vertical coverage. Frequency is correct. Yeah, there it is. Yes, let's do that. London Control, good afternoon. Lufthansa 75, flight level 148, descending 10,000, inbound Upton.
That's a 75, London Control, hello, descend flight level 140.
Descending flight level 140, Lufthansa 75. Okay, so we basically stopped our descent.
Speedbird 643.
Speedbird 643, London Control, hello, climb flight level 170.
Climbing 170, Speedbird 643. 643.
Hello, London Control, this is KLM 65 Juliet.
KLM 65 Juliet, London Control, hello. Climb flight level 170.
Flight level 170, KLM 65 Juliet. Thanks.
London Control, good. Swiss 152, passing 40.
London Control, hello, Speedbird 715 Tango on descent, passing level 260.
KLM 65 Juliet, turn right heading 110.
Right heading 110.
Speedbird 643, turn right heading 120. Speedbird 609 Delta, descent flight level 80.
Is a Swiss 609 Delta.
And Swiss 609 Delta, contact Heathrow Director 119, 119.1730.
Well, nice, so freezer Swiss 609 Delta.
And Swiss 122, descent flight level 90.
90, Swiss 122.
So it's 122, contact Heathrow director 119.730.
19730 is this 122.
Ryanair 18 Lima, descent flight level 80.
Good 80 or 180 Lima.
Last digit calling, say again, call sign only. EC 419 Squawk Mode Charlie. Virgin 11 Bravo, no further ATC available, monitor Unicom 122.8.
Unicom 122.8, thanks for your service. Bye-bye, Virgin 11 Bravo.
I see 419, you're squawking standby again. Squawk Mode Charlie, you got it there for a sec.
Land control, login 63 Romeo.
On the meanwhile, we check the weather again.
Clearance to Isle of Man.
And so the previous Logan calling, no flight plan received.
Oh, so that's the issue. Right.
Speedbird 643, turn right heading 120, please.
Right 120, Speedbird 643.
London control, hello, weather log 319, currently enter your first base, descending to flight level 130.
Level up 319, London control, hello. It's the Rogue Sog 1 hotel for Heathrow. Can route direct Hazel and complete the Rogue Cox 1 hotel.
One hotel arrival, and we're descending flight level 130 for Hazel.
KLM 65 Juliet route resume navigation, direct train.
Direct train, KLM 65 Juliet.
London for login 63 Romeo should have flight point now.
So I didn't confirm the arrival with the controller,
3576.
but I submitted it in my flight plan, so he didn't correct it, so I hope it's fine. I'm following the arrival, I'm following the constraints, so except the altitude, of course, he set me to 140. Let's see what he says.
Level 319, it's the Rocksog 1 hotel, Romeo Oscar X-ray Oscar Golf.
Rocksog 1 hotel,
EC 419er, thank you. Climb flight level 1 far. Climb flight level 140.
Climb flight level 140.
EC 419, my apologies. Climb flight level 130. Turn left heading 350.
Turn left heading 350. EC 419.
London Control, good afternoon. This is Griffin 76 Bravo with you, passing 3,500 feet.
Griffin 76 Bravo, London Control, hello. Climb flight level 140.
Flight level 140 for Griffin 76 Bravo.
Hello, this is Upper Intuit Bravo, yes, 6,000 feet.
Maka 28 Bravo, London Control, hello. Climb flight level 150. Speed 41 Golf, London Control, hello. Climb flight level 150. Speed at 4, correction, EC 419, climb flight level 130.
Flight level 130.
London Control, good afternoon. Fly 8701 descending 6,000 feet into city.
Flyer 8701, London Control, hello, break, Lufthansa 75, descend flight level 80, squawk 3576.
Squawk 3576 and descend flight level 80, Lufthansa 75.
Ryanair 18 Lima, contact Gatwick Director 126, decimal 825.
126.825.
Didn't expect a new
London
squawk
login
here,
63 Romeo, request,
but yeah.
to Isle of Man arrival for Lyon.
And flyer 8701, descend flight level 70.
Descend 707 8701.
Golden Control, good afternoon. Stuart 37 Tango, lesser 1, third flight level 00.
Speed of 37 Tango, London Control, hello. Lesser 1 hotel arrival for Heathrow. Descend flight level 180, level by EDVAX.
I'm gonna put the speed brake out to make his life a little bit easier and descend quicker. Not good for the passengers, but...
Contact Gatwick Director 126.825.
Over to Director 126825. Bye-bye, Lufthansa 75. Now let's check the ATIS. Gatwick Director, Lufthansa 75, information Kilo is on board, descending flight level 80, inbound Lark.
Lufthansa 75, hello, Gatwick Director, it's 26 left, speed 220 knots.
26 left and 220 knots, Lufthansa 75. Alright, looking good. 26 left is confirmed. Slowing down. Let's sit down the passengers, turn on our landing lights, turn our landing system on.
75, fly heading 275.
Heading 275 plus 75.
Rhino 180, you stop your turn now. I was expecting you to carry on to Willow. What are you doing?
Well, I'll turn to Willow if you want me to.
Yeah, that would be great. What were you planning? What were you actually doing there?
I was inbound May.
Oh, okay.
Let's clear out the flight plan a little bit here. Probably don't need that one anymore.
Heading for Willow, sorry, 180.
Rhino 180, it's alright. So left heading 290 degrees. I'm going to have to take you around on the loop, I'm afraid, because let's put you out of sequence that little turn.
No problem. So turn left 290.
Lufthansa 75, descend for level 70.
Descend flight level 70, Lufthansa 75. Yeah. Flaps 1 speed checked to increase the drag a little bit, make this life easier, and ours too.
Lufthansa 75, you have 30 miles, descend to altitude 6,000 feet, your QNH is 1020.
Descending 6,000 feet and QNH is 1020, Lufthansa 75. QNH set.
Lufthansa 75, turn right heading 350 degrees.
Right 350, Lufthansa 75.
Rhino 18 Lima, turn left heading 195.
Turn left 195, 18 Lima.
I think he's gonna set me on final later. It should be 118950. I might be wrong, but let's check. Maybe that's the right frequency. If not, he's gonna switch me directly to tower, but that's also okay. All right. So let's check.
75, descend to altitude 5,000 feet.
Descending 5,000 feet, Lufthansa 75.
Rhino 18 Lima, turn left heading 080 degree.
Left to 080, 180.
Lufthansa 75, report your... Sorry, contact Gatwick Director with your call sign only, 118.950.
Orbit Director 118950 calls in only. Bye bye, Lufthansa 75.
1990, reduce speed 160 knots, maintain till 4 DME.
Reduce speed 160, maintain until 4 mile bound.
Building 204, no speed from me, contact tower 124-230.
14230, 620.
London Director, Lufthansa 75.
Lufthansa 75, good night.
Nice. Easy. Okay, Intercept.
75, turn left at 320 please.
Left 320, Lufthansa 75.
01990, contact Gatwick Tower 124-230, go ahead.
Gatwick Tower 124-230, near 190, thank you for service.
Lufthansa 75, descend to altitude 3000 feet, QNH 1020.
Descending 3000 feet in QNH 1020, Lufthansa 75. It's going as smooth as it can be, I guess. So Intercept is 2000. That should work out. Let's already prepare the tower frequency that it's gonna be 124 230. So there was some stuttering, I just saw that. Let's hope it won't get worse. Sometimes Microsoft Flight Simulator is very picky when it comes to the scenery and everything. Some sceneries there's never a problem, others it's terrible. But let's hope for the best.
Gatwick Director, Ryanair 18 Lima.
Ryanair 18 Lima, hello, turn left turning 350 degrees.
Turn left 350 degrees.
Lufthansa 75, descend to altitude 2000 feet.
Descending 2000, Lufthansa 75. A little bit fast here. Let's hope for the best.
$2,500.
Ryanair 18 Lima, descend to altitude 3000 feet.
Descend 3018 Lima.
Lufthansa 75, turn left turning 290 degrees, cleared ILS approach, runway 26 left.
290 degrees and cleared ILS 26 left of 75. Alright, approach phase, approach activated, armed, autopilot 2, Lockstar, Cat 3, autopilot 1 and 2.
Lufthansa 75, the reduced speed 160 knots, made 4 DME.
160 until 40 in Lufthansa 75.
Lufthansa 75, contact Gatwick Tower 124-230, cheers.
Over the tower 124-230, thanks for the service, bye bye, Lufthansa 75.
Ryanair 18 Lima, descend to altitude 2.
Gear down. Spoilers armed, flaps free. Flaps full. Gatwick Tower, Lufthansa 75, ILS 26 left.
Lufthansa 75, Gatwick Tower, Roger, continue approach. Qatari 8985, just confirm you're lining up now?
Yeah, well, we do not see this traffic.
Say again, sorry?
Landing checklist. Cabin crew is advised.
Yeah, we are
Auto throttle is speed. Becoming more landing no blue.
Okay, no worries. Neo 1990, welcome to Gatwick. Contact the ground.
Moin Mario.
805. Bye bye.
Ground 121.805. Thank you. You're 190.
Qatari 8985, the surface wind 220 degrees up 10 knots, runway 26 left, clear takeoff. Luxor 74 Papa, taxi holding point Alpha 1. Alpha 1, 74 Papa.
Alright, 40 ME.
Contact 26 Bravo, still with you, 4000.
Let's reduce to minimal speed, approach speed.
$1,000.
A little bit low. Correcting. Until now everything is going smooth. Let's hope we're not gonna get any stuttering. Still a little bit low.
Gatwick Tower, near 18 Lima.
500.
Inbound, left. 26 left.
118 Lima, Gatwick Tower, continue approach.
Continue approach 18 Lima.
Lufthansa 75, the surface wind 220 degrees up 10 knots, runway 26 left, clear to land.
26 left, clear to land at 75.
Okay, 74 Papa behind the landing Lufthansa Airbus 320 Neo via Alpha 1, line up on weight 26 left behind.
100 above.
Weight 26 left behind and in traffic,
And easy 71 Romeo Charlie, follow
200.
the company Boeing 737
Minimum.
on Alpha 1.
Continue. Then Papi, don't align with the glide slope at all.
Sorry, 8985, contact London 134.125, goodbye. One 134.125.
40. 30. 20. Retard. 10. 5.
Tomjet 26 Bravo, still with you, 4000.
Tomjet 26 Bravo, that's my fault. Contact London 134.125.
Contact London 134.125, I'll blame you. Tomjet 26 Bravo, have a good day, bye bye.
Easy 28 Alpha Mike in the queue for Alpha 2.
Easy 28 Alpha Mike, roger. Luxor 74 Papa, the surface wind 230 degrees up 12 knots, runway 26 left, clear takeoff.
Yeah, for the got to 6 left, step over.
Lufthansa 75, welcome to Gatwick, contact ground 121.805.
Ground 121.805 to 75, bye bye.
Emergency 600, actually, apologies. Continue Juliet, hold short, Papa. I'll call you back.
Alright, hold short, Papa 600.
Under 270, ready to taxi, able Barrow 1.
Contact 27 kilo, say again, sorry.
Ready to taxi, and we are able.
So turning up the radar so we don't fry anybody.
Contact 27 kilo, roger. Taxi, Juliet, left. November, hold Bravo 1.
Taxi, Juliet, November, hold Bravo 1, contact 27 kilo.
Gatwick ground, Lufthansa 75, holding short, 08 left.
Good afternoon, ground, EG866 at gate 105, Airbus 320. Requesting IFR to Brussels.
Easy 8866, Gatwick, hello, clear Brussels, Memphis 1, Mike departure, squawk 0154.
One Mike departure and squawk is, can you repeat that?
Squawk 0154.
Nymph 1 Mike departure and squawk 0154 EGA66.
Easy 8866 reback correct. Break Neo 1990 continue taxi Romeo hold short Lima.
Continue taxi Romeo, hold short Lima, Neo 1990.
Gatwick ground 075, Foxtrot Romeo holding short 08 left. Does the guy hear me? Lufthansa 75.
Lufthansa 75, thank you. Continue taxi, take second right Juliet, hold short Romeo.
Continue taxi, take second right Juliet and hold short Romeo Lufthansa 75.
Building 6004, thanks for your patience. Continue taxi Juliet, stand 11.
Taxi Juliet, stand 11. 60.
With 10 heavy, request IFR to Orlando with Kilo.
Spirit 10, thanks for your patience. Cleared as filed. Novma 1 X-ray departure squawk 0731.
Clear to Orlando is filed and the Knoxville 1 X-ray departure squawk 0731. Spirit 10.
Spirit 10, read back correct. Break. Honda 27 kilo, contact tower 124230.
1422, 27 kilo.
Yeah, Roger.
There's Speedbird 2672 ready for taxi.
Speedbird 2672, thank you. Taxi straight ahead left. Lima holds short. Papa.
Taxi straight ahead, Lima, hold short, Papa, Speedbird 2672.
EZ4638 radio check.
So let's see where Romeo is. Romeo, oh, okay.
Gatwick ground, Ryanair 18 Lima, vacated runway 26 left.
Ryanair 18 Lima, thank you. Continue second right Juliet, hold short Romeo.
Second right Juliet, hold short Romeo 18 Lima.
Mediocre Golf 777 ready for start.
Okay, 777 push and start approved, face east.
Options are approved facing east, thanks for sir.
E4638, stand 16, aircraft type A320 Leo. Information Kilo on board, ready to copy IFR.
4638 cleared, Edinburgh, Lamborn 6 mile departure, squawk 6357.
So the land angle is not the best, especially because the deviating puppies from the glide slope is really bad. I mean, I had 4 reds all the time, although I was on glide slope.
Neo 1990, thanks for your patience. Taxi right Lima, left Quebec Alpha, stand 553.
And it's hard to tell what to follow. So what is actually accurate? The puppy or the glide slope? That's the thing. So. But you know, every landing you can walk away from is a good landing.
3672, taxi right. Papa, hold short, Papa.
Taxi right on Papa, hold Papa on Speedbird 2672.
Lufthansa 75, taxi left, Romeo, hold short, Lima.
Taxi left, Romeo, and hold short, Lima, Lufthansa 75. Okay, he's sending me to the backyard. It's gonna take a while.
EZ4638, confirmed squawk 6357. Ryanair 48, Foxtrot push and start approved, face east.
EZ4638, confirms squawk 6357.
Sound ready for taxi.
One at a time, please. The easy aircraft calling to confirm the squawk set 6357.
Affirm squawk 6357.
Apologies, Kek. Jeppesen ready for taxi.
Yeah, station calling, stand by.
Roger that.
EZ4638, 4638, push and start approach face east.
Push and start approved face east, easy 4638.
Runway 18 Lima, continue taxi Juliet, hold short Papa.
To Juliet, hold short Papa, 180.
0267 to continue taxi Papa, left Alpha November, hold Alpha 3.
Continue Papa, left Alpha November, hold Alpha 3, go to 672.
Lufthansa 75, taxi right Lima, stand 51.
Taxi right, Lima, stand 5-1, Lufthansa 75. Okay.
Tower Gatwick, Avenue 1990, just confirm our stand number. Okay.
Avenue 1990, apologies, you've moved on to Quebec, I meant Quebec Alpha. If you're happy to take straight ahead, you can taxi, continue into 563.
Roger, stand 563 for Neo 1990.
2672, contact tower 124230, bye bye.
124.230 for sleeper 2672, cheers for help.
FedEx 1420, radio check.
Station calling, lots of background noise, readability 2.
FedEx 1420, radio check.
FedEx 1420, slightly better, readability 3.
Ground EG866, resting start and push.
EG866, push and start approved, face east.
Start and push approved and face east. EG866.
Okay, Jeppesen, ready for taxi.
Keg 777, stand by, I'll call you back.
Roger.
Runway 18 Lima, taxi Juliet, Zulu, and stand 12.
Juliet and Zulu, stand 12, Ryanair 18 Lima.
FedEx 1420, requesting IFR clearance to Manchester, Boeing 737-800.
FedEx 1420, stand by, call you back, break. Keg 777, taxi Juliet, hold short Papa.
Hold short Papa, I have a Juliet, Jeppesen.
Ground, good afternoon, Ryanair 22, Boeing 737-800, QNH 1020, request IFR to Newcastle with information kilo.
Ryanair 52, I will call you back, break. FedEx 1420, you ready for clearance?
So let me quickly disconnect from VATSIM and then I can answer the question. Lufthansa 75 on blocks, thanks for your service, bye bye.
Bye bye. FedEx 140.
Alright, so turning off the engines. Yeah, I'm using the Optima, free Optima Beamers 1080. They are covering 2-meter diameter, 180 degrees. But as I said, they're only 1080. So I'm thinking of upgrading to 4K, but only when the new the 5th generation RTX graphic card comes out, because I think 3 times 4K is still a lot for the current generation of graphic cards. So and for the 1080, so I mean, you can, I don't know how well you see it on the cam, but of course it's quite pixely, right? If you only sit like 1 meter away from this huge screen. But it's okay. I think that's the current standard when it comes to projection. Yeah. But for 2 meters radius screen, you need that. 180 degrees, you need definitely 3 projectors. Yeah. So we neglected our landing. checklist, but we are still alive. APO bleed is on, engines are off. Seat belts off. Exterior lights turning off. Fuel pumps set to off. Parking brakes, of course, are set. We set our squawk to 2000. And yeah, let's turn the external power on. Then securing the aircraft. ADS are off. Oxygen is on. APO bleed off. Emergency exit lights are off. No smoking is off. And APU and battery. Well, battery not yet, but we're turning the APU off. All good. All right. So that's it. Thanks a lot for joining. As I said, I talked a little bit through the entire video because I'm going to upload it later to YouTube. Also to have a little bit more, explaining about what I'm going to do, what I'm doing, how I prepare for the communication with ATC and things like that. So probably most of the time I was talking to nobody in the stream, but later on YouTube, maybe people find that interesting. Good. That's basically it. So thanks a lot for joining me on my flight from Munich to London Gatwick, and enjoy your weekend.